It was like a mosh pit. It was amazing. And we are getting started here at Link's house, and we're starting with the mirror as our first item. Very nice find.
Quite a nice find, but also helps throughout the escape quite easily. If they find an item soon, or a weapon soon, they'll be able to do a really fast check of the entrance as well as the sewers.
And we see that Tower Hera is a green pendant, and our other two Light World dungeons are just blue crystals. And we're already seeing the enemy shuffle in play here. We see an anti-fairy in the secret escape. And we also saw Hokoboku just bounce it out and stuff from the castle. And Uncle Today just has 3 bombs for us. At least it's a nice start.
Yeah, and if they find a couple other bombs, that will allow them to do the escape sequence, because I think you need 5 bombs minimum to beat all the enemies that are required. But it also depends on what type of enemies you find there. And we get our official prize shield from the sanctuary.
Yeah, that shield's not the best, I'll admit, but at least it'll protect you from any sort of minor projectiles like arrows and rocks. And there's a Beamos already just sitting out front. Yeah, you're gonna see a lot of random enemies here. Lots of Beamos.
One of the advantages of the Randomizer is that the rooms that are normally bow-locked might not be bow-locked. I think, for example, of Eastern Palace. But maybe we'll still have mimics, who knows.
I think we just saw our trap enemy, and it's a fish. That's hilarious.
That's an Randomizer for you. And an early hook shot for Rywek. Well.
Yeah. So, here's the thing. A fish as our trap enemy is actually really good. If we can get that random fish to show up in town, or just carry any one of them to the merchant, we'll get a bunch of pickups from him. Like, it's a good way to stock up in Randomizer if you can get one early on. And there is even a fish just a couple screens away. Yeah, I saw as well.
And with this early bomb find, both our players won't have to rely too much on rupees to check the chests inside Kakariko. We will see what Blind's hideout has for us.
Yep, and starting off, just a heart piece for now. Armor upgrade. A sword as well. Well, that gives them the means to defend themselves. And you can see the DT through the fish, but it's now gone. I just missed the chest in the back.
Chest in the back was just some money, so nothing of much importance. But they'll be able to buy some more bombs if they don't find any others in order to check and open the mini Moldom cave.
Oh, I think Rywek would want to save that money right now for the bottle merchant. We'll see what this cave has. A Harkinator started us off. That's not too bad to have this early on.
Another one. So they already got 2 hot containers, some money, more money. And, well, arrows, they don't need that now, but... Well, they already got the blue mail as well as a few hot containers, so with Randomizer being able to throw the worst enemies Hyrule has to offer straight from the beginning, it's nice to be a bit safe.
Ouch, a 5% return on your investment. Okay, this is one of the most dangerous rooms. Let's see what we got here. 3 of them are still chickens, and we have 1 enemy that's a stealth enemy. Could be worse. Could have been a lot worse. Could have just been guards.
Yeah, having guards, if you didn't have a sword yet, that could be really, really bad, or even with a normal fighter sword. Yeah, and Rywek decides to... Yes?
There's those guards I was just mentioning right there. They replaced the chickens outside.
Quite passive at the start, but, well, let's see what we have later. So, going at the back of the tavern, what's the last thing? Gloves! Okay, so they could sequence break already to the Tower of Hera. They wouldn't have any fire source for the back of the dungeon, but with a hookshot they already have access then, with a logic break, to the east side of Death Mountain early on.
Yes. Something else with that glove, though, is lets us get to the back 3 items of Sanctuary without having to go through that narrow corridor in the escape sequence, which I think would be a nice breather. However, you will drop down into a room that's filled with at least 8 different enemies. And is that a Moon Pearl at the race game? That is the Moon Pearl.
That is the Moon Pearl. So Rywek ready to save and quit, but he's saying, hang on, I might need that.
No, you definitely need that. And we haven't even talked about this right yet. We're seeing DT playing as a cursor, which is hilarious. Get your mouse cursor off the screen. Oh, wait. Yeah. Oh, geez. The bush guards are just ambushing Rywek.
But still manages to get the standard 9 seconds finish, although being a bit pushed away. Yeah, back to the sprite of DT. I love the cursor. I would never want to play with it, but I just love watching it, see the animations. The pull or push animations are just great, in my opinion.
Yeah. And Rywek is, of course, playing as the Minish Cap Link. I recognize that design. And hey, we see an Octo Balloon there. Pretty rare enemy that you don't see much of.
So with the hookshot in hand, this check of the dam will be a bit faster, because he won't have to do a double dip inside the dam. He can just use this hookshot glitch.
Yeah. And we're only about 7 minutes in. We got a decent amount of progression as well. I'm not sure if our runners will be thinking of doing an Eastern Palace play early on, but who knows? Maybe they'll just think that they can get there. Because we can get to the boss, but we can't exactly kill them. Because in most cases, we're going to be dealing with something like... Well, worst case scenario is we find a Trinex there. And that thief is going to mug him.
Yeah, thankfully he didn't lose any bombs. And
oh, we have shadows.
The shadows. That's I think more annoying than having the Moldorms, because having the mini Moldorms in this cave when you have the hookshot is just easy, but these small shadow things.
Yeah, we get bombs and a lot of rupees here. Some extra bombs as well. And our Dark World access.
Well, Dark World access. With a sequence break, we also have access to the East Dark Death Mountain access. And I mean, that's what Rywek put a bit in the lead in last game. I wonder if he'll do that again. Oh, hello with rope. Oh god.
Yeah, wizards and binos and bomb slugs.
Having this blue mail early on is really a given, or a present for both runners.
Yeah, I'm actually looking up the enemy names there. Those shadows are actually called Babusu. And Slugula for that little slug right there.
And Rywek decides not to fake Flipper. Interesting, because with the Moon Pearl, that's actually a play that could be worth it. You'd be able to check the Lake Alia fall, the Alia fall. Yes?
I'm gonna make this one point. Do you really want to fake Flipper when you have potentially who knows what waiting for you at Zora's Domain to just wreck you? We are on Randomizer after all. It might not be a good idea.
Well, for all we know, it might be chicken.
Yeah.
And I mean, because it doesn't have the money as of yet. Oh, what is this room? Thieved Red Guard, as well as this huge spike ball.
And they're saying her and the Kate of Samaria.
And already.
Very nice. Yeah, thankfully those thieves are killable.
And I think Rywek might be now going for the Death Mountain play. I mean, he's got the access to the light as well as dark world side of it. The whole eastern side is available, as well as Tower of Hera, which might be completable, depending on the need or not for a fire source. Where do you think TT is going?
DT, I think, is going to check other locations. And yes, folks, we have the Chaos Boss Shuffle equipped. Our bosses will be shuffled in between themselves. And we could even have duplicate bosses, so which means we could have as many as, I don't know, 5 Trinexes? There's a lot that can happen.
Well, having 5 Trinexes would mean for both runners that the Ice Rod and Fire Rod are near or are early in the game. If they get a few blinds, that would be like almost wrecking it the other way, because it wouldn't lead to much progression or logic hindsight.
And just as a reminder, folks, it can only be like up to 11 different bosses here, because Aga 1 and Aga 2, they stay the same. They're the only bosses that are not shuffled.
And we see Thieves and Stalfos Knights on the mountain.
Oof.
That's heavy.
We also have the Zeros there in the tunnel with the old man. That's not nice. They're the bombers that are normally in South Dark World.
And thank God the cabbages haven't been randomized.
Yeah, those are, I think those are area obstacle, not a trap. Although traps are considered enemies. And just as a quick reminder, folks, we only need to fight 2 of the Ganasera bosses, so we may not have to deal with Ice Cape. And the cape requires the hammer. Okay. You know what this tells me? Aga's dead. We already have Aga dead, but it's well and truly dead now. There's no way that hammer is going to be locking anything.
Well, Aga will be dead for sure, because we will still need to go to him. This is all dungeons after all.
That's
DT
right.
Finding a bottle. That's good to find, but so far away from Sick Kid. Think he will be hoping to get a flute soon to have a requirement to go back to the Chicago village. And we see the cave. So far, not much.
Yeah, I suppose I misspoke. I should have mentioned that its early Aga is dead. Although we could. There's nothing stopping a late Aghanim or an ideal Aghanim from happening. Because we still don't have access to Palace of Darkness. And, well, we have to defeat Aghanim at some point.
Yeah, both our runners...
Ideally after being Aga 2, of course.
Indeed. Beating Aga 2 just brings you then to Ganon's pit on top of the pyramid, and if you just mirror there, you're straight in front of Aga 1. So that's the most convenient routing our runners could have, and we might see if Tower of Hera is fire locked.
You just got a duplicate hit.
It is.
We just got the hit that says the cape requires a hammer in 2 different locations. Thanks, game. They really want you to know that cape is hammer locked, apparently.
They might be hinting at the cape being required for something, I don't know.
Well, if it is, we'll see it. And whoa! 3 Tauros there guarding the exit of Spiral Cave. And yeah, these thieves are not playing around. There's 3 of them down here. Here on the dark side of, or the light side of F Mountain. We're now on the dark side.
Yeah, it makes you miss the normal dead rocks here.
Yeah. Skull Woods, Misery Mire, our other 2 pendants, Thieves Town, and Turtle Rock are our 5-6. Everything else is a crystal. And nice clip there from DT.
And so with Skullwoods being a pendant, that means for the pet dream that we can not have the fire rod on the pedestal. The flute, we can't have it as well. Yeah, bit early to speak about the pedestal, but that's something to keep in mind. And I think both our runners will have that in mind all the time. As soon as they got a book, I guess they would check a pedestal.
And that's not accounting for the enemy logic. That's just simply because we need the fire rod to open up the boss of Skull Woods and the flute to reach Misery Mire, respectively.
First medallion check, and it's Quake on Turtle Rock.
All right. We don't know where Quake is yet, but hopefully it'll show up soon. DT gonna check Hookshot Cave here. Let's see what we get. Ooh,
we get a fall.
Off. And there's mini boulders here. It's not exactly the kindest location. Starting off with a red rupee. Meh. There's just a pain gator trying to dash at you. That's kind of hilarious. He just stuck there in his own little island. Like, come over here, I'm gonna knock you off.
Yeah, having the pain gator on that late area is, I mean, quite good. And actually, both type of enemies are really beneficial for both runners because both enemies can be one-shotted with a hook shot, so not as bad as one could expect.
Yeah, DT is gonna end their route with checking Hera. So, we didn't find much here on the mountain. We found the bottle, but whatever it leads to is meh. I think our play is actually Village of Outcasts. Makes the most sense in terms of the logic. And there's quite a few items there as well.
Quite a few items, but without having the hammer, it's a bit risky for both our runners. There could be an item hidden inside the big key chest, inside the big chest, and you really do not want to go inside Turtle Rock second time just to head back to this big chest.
Yeah, you don't really want to go into D-Town a second time. And D-Town might lag a fair bit too. But with the whole enemy shovel there's a lot of Zazaks in there normally.
But speaking from a basic logical point, Tower of Hera is not completable. Eastern Palace is not, because you will need the lamp. Because you don't have the flippers, you can't currently go to the eastern side of the map in the Dark World. So Pod is not accessible. Ice Palace, we will need the flippers. They can basically, at the current state of the game, they can only dip dungeons. And question will be, which dip is the best one? Or checking the other worlds, like the Hype Cave, maybe.
Yeah, sure. That's gonna be the real troll here. It's like the Hammers and Hype Cave, because that is a long way to walk with a whole bunch of random enemies. All right, Siki, what do you got for us? Nothing much. Nothing much.
Thanks for your lunch money and bye. So DT seems to be taking your hint and going to the Dark World, and he will, I think, soon check either Skullwoods first, at least deep the beginning, or go straight for Village of Outcast. Interesting to note that they've completely forgone the eastern side of the Light World and didn't check Saraswala.
Well, they have the mirror. If they absolutely need to, they can start checking that in the Dark World and then mirror to Light World and check them. So
yeah, but they do not have access to it at the moment. At the moment, they just can't go there. So it's a risky play to leave that open, to leave that out so long, because it's a Sphere 0 location, meaning available from the beginning of the game. And if it got any nice items, they may feel that like they're behind.
Yeah, I will agree that it is kind of a risk to be leaving it behind. But there's our flute. So that puts our bottle back in logic. And makes checking Eastern a little bit more, I would say, feasible, because now they can just flute to 5.
No hammer. Ah, yeah, for Eastern side, yeah, no problem. Yes, sorry, it just got light and dark world mixed. But yeah, Death Mountain in logic and easy east side access.
And there are silver arrows at the chess game.
Nice early find. Now we just need a bow to put that to good use.
And our bow's probably gonna be somewhere else. And we do have Zora money. Zora is actually in logic. It's just not ideal because you'd have to walk all the way there. You could fake her, but the intended logic is to walk there with the gloves and open up all the path.
Indeed, following the logic on this side, it would be really a long time loss for just one item check, and these fake flippers that both runners know perfectly would enable them to check also the Hylia Ferry as well. So it's 2 more items, and they'll be able to check what the ledge has. Won't be able to get it, but if it's nothing, they won't need to come back. And if it's something really important, as soon as they get the flippers, they will just rush for that then.
Yeah, and it seems that Town is got a whole bunch of Okubokus, Babusus, Popoys, and Hinox in there. And there's our lamp!
Okay, so dark rooms are now in logic, so theoretically Eastern Palace is fully in logic. The boss just depends on what kind of boss we get there.
And we also just have standard stalls as well in the dungeons. The bouncing skulls. Oh, jeez! I look up and I suddenly see 3 Trinexes. Or, not 3 Lionels, there.
Yeah, so thank you for the lag and thank you for the high damage output. Or input in that case. That's not the kind of enemies you would like to see in this dungeon because it lags already so much. Getting those as well on top is just horrendous.
And yeah, Tower Hero is now in logic too, so that lamp does open up a fair bit of the game.
Also worth noting, it would put also the sewers of Hyrule Castle into logic.
That is true. I think the actual play to make, though, is to not go to any of those locations. Instead, you're already in Dark World. You might as well make the trek down to check Stumpy, check Cave Alpha Grove, check Hype Cave. Maybe even do the Smith Loop while you're at it. Because those, if you abandon those checks, this is going to be a significant time sink without the hammer to do them later.
Indeed, and they actually wrote really well in early game these checks because we're having the Titan Smiths already, as you said. The Smith chain is in logic as well as the purple chest, so they can basically route everything at once, and then they're done with it. And if it's got any progression, it might. If they got the hammer, then it opens also pod.
And we have a question, chat. How does blind work in Randomizer? We don't have to save the maiden at all, and the boss is just there, waiting for us.
Oh god, this room. Free god.
One of them just disappeared. And, oh.
That's... Oh god.
We have a unique
Brian
item and the Cane of Burn, in the same location. Locked behind Turtle Rock. Locked behind Thieves Town. So, think about this for a second here. We know Turtle Rock requires the hammer, it requires the fire rod, it requires Samaria, which we already have. It also requires Quake. So none of those can be the unique item. But, with the combined with Thieves Town, and the fact that Randomizer doesn't take the enemies into account, I think, to some degree, or it takes the item pool into account, but not, and shelves the enemies accordingly. If we see a bow required boss, I I don't know what it means.
Actually, we wouldn't necessarily need the fire rod for Turtle Rock if the fire rod locked side has the map and the compass. But it's not that much likely, and I'm not sure if it's a gamble both foreigners would like to take.
Yeah, you would like to have the fire rod.
When they get Quake as well as the hammer, Turtle Rock, at least the early dip of it, is full in logic.
Yeah, so we're just gonna go to this empty prison cell here and see what Rywek's gonna find. Looks like DT noped out and is gonna go ahead and check the south loop.
Yeah, I think DT is waiting for his hammer in order to make this Thief's Town. Oh, hello, Master Sword. To make the Thief's Town play really worthwhile and not have to go back just for one possible item.
Yep, day game now for DT. I flinched and thought that was my cursor for a second. Ah! Only 20 rupees for the digging game. And we're about to see what is our... And we're about to see what our boss is here in Thieves Town. Oh, hey, it's just blind. How's it going?
Is this even randomized?
Now, that is a blessing and a curse because we don't get to do the scripted fight here in Randomizer.
Still better than fighting Trinex.
I suppose so, yeah.
And as chat is pointing out, the big key, the big chest is locked in itself. We didn't find the small key, so we know that the small key is inside the big chest, so hammer was not at all required for this dungeon.
But
and
that's
at
telling.
26 minutes, 45 seconds.
We already knew the hammer was...
our first crystal.
Yep, that's our first crystal. But that was telling because that means, even though we know the Turtle Rock was... If it...
So what Rywek is gonna now do his own digging game. We've got DT going for Stumpy. And what does old Stumpy have first? 20 bucks. Thanks, but not needed. And with an early mirror, DT will be also able to check the K45. And no ping on that hard container, feeling quite confident in his execution skills. And our purple chest having nothing of value, so the whole smith chain wasn't worth it at all. Yes, chat, in the game 1, in the name of DT, noped the red mail inside the K45. Wasn't much of a hassle for him or a loss because DT is quite good in his execution, and I think that was a hint for a unique item on inside Swamp. Did you manage to catch that, chat? And we get a hype cave check, and 10 arrows first. Not much. Shield, that's nice, but not mandatory. And well, I would rate that actually a 2 out of 10 because, well, who needs shields anyway? So in DT fluting, and now going to fake flipper. So we're going to see as soon as he does, yep, manage it second try. So we're probably gonna see a cave check on the northeastern side. Indeed, I think he might leave Hobo for later. And also worth noting that with the Titan Smiths, he has not logical, but he has access to oh god, getting hit. That's what Fake Flipper does for you. Hello, blue screen of death. In Fake Flipper state, as soon as you get hit, you just die straight away, or you get soft locked. So I think DT is gonna trade again, maybe, or no, he's going now to the Eastern Palace side. So DT going back to the Death Mountain, and I think with the lamp in tow is now gonna check totally Tower of Hera. There are still items there to get, and it's also one dungeon done. Especially it's the green pendant, so quite good from him to do this. If he can manage the boss, if his Trinek is just done for. But if he can beat the boss, get his green pendant, then going to Saratola will yield him 4 items instead of only the 3 items in Saratola's closet. So, chat, DT is gonna enjoy a nice coffee break, or wanted to enjoy a nice coffee break, so now we'll enjoy fencing and... What? What was that? Never seen that before. What are the tiles just made this blue pilots just disappear? That's... I'd say that's an Randomizer for you. Thanks, game. Thanks for the hard form. And DT is going to get his big key. Yep. Meanwhile, Rywek going for the Seawards play. What is that room? Oh god. Mini Helmazors, Moldorms, Fireballs. That's... Yeah, thanks, game. Red guards, or at least one. And howdy, Powder. So, Powder, the magic bat is now fully in logic. Even though Rywek doesn't have the hammer, he will be able to go from the Dark World onto the spot, just mirror out, and he'll be directly there. Meanwhile, DT getting a joke hint, and some bombs as an item. Okay, some rolling pins here. Fire bar. Meanwhile, DT is gonna see which boss hides behind. And hello, Helmazor. So, without the hammer, you can still beat him. You would just need, like DT's going, you will need the bombs, but it takes quite some time and quite dangerous, especially with the empty everywhere around you. And chat, Haga is currently not in play, or runners who still need to get a second sword. Oh wait, hang on, Rywek has a second sword, so Rywek will be able to do Haga if required early, but DT still needs to get his Master Sword. And DT manages a harmless Helmasaur fight and gets for his trouble a compass. So we got both items ready. Welcome back, Wolflink.
Yeah.
You didn't miss that much, but Hype Cave was just... I was pushing for 2 out of 10 and chat wanted to push a 1 out of 10, so that's just telling.
Unfortunately, things kind of broke on my end and I missed that Hype Cave along with the last 5 or so minutes. But there we go. Almost working down in Tower Hera.
Yep, so DT went first to the Tower of Hera in order to get his green pendant so that he can check Sarasara's closet as well as the green pendant all at once. Actually quite a good routing from him. Rywek meanwhile is doing I got 1 now.
So yeah, Aga 1, probably the right play here, considering we haven't found our flute, or flippers or our hammer yet. And Rywek does not give a whole look of sense, does not want to deal with them. Interesting though that lever was kind of hiding there.
And just send guys just on these narrow hallways. It's not fun game. Not for runners maybe. For us it is, but not for runners.
Yeah.
So, and with Aga 1 about to happen, what's your guess on the number of blue balls we might see tonight?
Let's go with the standard one, the average. Let's go with 3.
Alright, I'll take your call. 3 for me as well.
So it looks like in the time I was gone, we didn't find much other than the fire shield.
Sword in pod. That's a useful hint. Thanks, game. In an unironical way this time. And Aga is down on Rywek's side. I think it was only 1 blue bowl, right?
Yeah, just 1.
So DT is about to get his big key and then we'll delve into the backside of Eastern Palace, show us what the boss is. Meanwhile, Rywek doing the play of dipping into pod. A gamble, but it might be interesting. It might be worth it.
Oh, for all we know, the livers and the hammer could be here and this is required. Slugly again getting in the way. I've closed the database at this point. If I forget an enemy's proper name, then so be it. I actually think that was what caused my thing to break.
And not a nice room to get, but thanks to Bombos, DT just makes short work of it. One animation and done. And we see our first check of Sarsla's closet.
Yep, Sarhasrala probably has the hammer or something just to spite Rywek here. And it looks like no. Just a couple heart pieces.
Not much there, but DT, when he's done with Eastern Palace, will be also able to check the green pendant. And that's a nice room. Hello, Bombos. Bye, enemies.
Yeah, everything dies. Except for the ghost. The gas enemy there. I don't that's one of the few I don't remember. And we have Vitreous.
Oh,
nice
God.
red Vitreous.
Fighter Sword Vitreous. God.
At least there's no slime. The damage taken will be minimal.
Yeah, but after fighting Helmazor with bombs, he only had one left. That's hard for him now. It's gonna take quite some time. Rywek, meanwhile, having the Master Sword, will have a shorter time fighting Vitreous.
Yeah, and that Master Sword was in Thieves Town. So that's something I want to ask you here, Julian. If you had to do Fighters or Vitreous, do you mirror out, retreat, and come back with something stronger? Eastern is not one of the slowest dungeons, to be sure, but you're already here.
Yeah, I might be already here, but if it were me with my capacities as a runner, I just like, nope, I'll see you later with Butter Sword or with the bow. Because with a bow, Vitreous is a joke. It's just like 10 seconds, you're done. I wouldn't do a Fighter Sword fight. What would you do, Wolf?
I'd nope out.
Yeah, and DT nopes out unwanted.
Yeah. The thing is with Vitreous, the fight is so slow with Fighter Sword that I'm better off just coming back here and making the fight just infinitely faster, something like Master Sword, something like the Silver Arrows and the bow, something like having just a few more bombs maybe to chuck at him.
Oh. Doesn't...
Oh
God. Flippers on the green pendant, so that puts ice into logic, but DT is now quite angry. I mean, DT couldn't check the backside. It opens Zora and the complete Zora area. And, oh god, it's V30. Swamp.
You know what it also opens up?
No.
In the name of DT, it opens up Palace of Darkness. You could save Aga for last in the seed.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And there's our final sword location.
Oh, nice. Indeed, we know that the last sword is in pod, thanks to a hint, so tempered sword here. Yeah, DT is just gonna be angry that he didn't go first for our good old friend Saraswala to get his flippers.
And kind of a blessing in disguise, though, that even though they have the flippers, we don't have the hammer yet, so Swamp is not an ideal play.
For all we know, actually DT is currently fully in logic, so the first chest of Swamp could have the hammer, and it's not unheard of.
Yeah, that is a Gar convention in the dark. No thank you. Please get out of my face.
With Zora coming, what do you hope from him?
Let's see the hammer. No, but that's the expected outcome. So those flippers are going to open up a lot of the world for DT.
Yep, the total eastern side, and well, actually, he might have also gone first into the Dark World and then do Catfish, mirror then to Zora's area, but It would have been a long walk. I think he might go for blind now.
Yeah, DT is a lot better equipped than he was before, so blind, going after blind, which we know is actually a vanilla blind today, makes a lot of sense. Now the lightning Victory shoots is completely random. It is in fact decided on the frame that it shoots. And this is a 60 FPS game, so that lightning is truly random, and the corners are not safe. What is safe though is that nice is the upper corners of the map, but the game normally has Vitreous in a pool of slime that does contact damage if you stand on it. So the safe spot's actually the middle of the room where you're outside the cone but not on the slime. On the outer walls.
Yeah, and we see Rywek fighting with the Master Sword. It's still... It's a faster fight than on DT's side, but it's just taking so long.
Yeah. I'm surprised Rywek didn't try to get some extra damage on Vitreous before. But easy enough to corner trap. And that is what Rywek is going to do here. Just gonna take like 50 slashes or something. The game really intends you to have Temper Sword for this fight. It really does. But down goes Vitreous in the Eastern Palace. And he was guarding just a map for our runners.
Yep, but with this, that's the second crystal or second dungeon for Rywek. Oh, third dungeon, because he already did Aga 1. Still really early to call a lead on this. But I mean, let's see what are the next plays. What do you think Rywek is gonna do now? Apart from just hopping straight into pot.
I know what I would do, given what I know, but in the case of Rywek, it's probably start clearing dungeons and start panicking once you realize the flippers were on Sahasrahla and you could have got them if you so chose.
Yeah, for him now, doing Tower of Hera is fully in logic. He's got the fire source, and well, he doesn't know yet what type of enemy it is of boss, but we know that it's the correct play to make in order to get the progression you need in order to dip into swamp or just have easy access from left to right side without a hammer. DT getting his Tempered Sword. We're gonna smell some bacon now.
And someone asking in chat, can you get through the bow? Yes, because the enemies are shuffled, so there may or may not be Igors guarding the bowlock side. The game logic, but how the item logic works, and the item logic is shuffled before the enemies are shuffled here in Randomizer. So even though we don't need the bow for bowlock side, in terms of our item logic, it still assumes you have the bow. And that's something our runners have to keep in mind as they progress throughout the seed.
Also worth noting, while the usually bowlocked side is not bowlocked anymore in this Randomizer, Helmazor, or the boss of this dungeon, is bowlocked because you need to shoot an arrow inside the statue. And meanwhile, DT is taking an unwanted death. Damn.
Yeah, blind is not a nice fight, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's one of the easiest fights when you have it in script, but without a script, it's really up to RNG and having maybe an invisibility item. Otherwise, it's really, really a hefty fight. I mean, DT is a really, really top tier runner, and having him die on blind with a blue mail, it shows just how difficult it is on 10 hard count.
10 hearts blue mail with a fire shield though. And well, It is that time of season where the things get a nip in the air, but not as much as Rywek now that he is wielding the Ice Rod, found in the basement of Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, and we know that he will also find a sword in there.
Yeah, so there will be Tempered Sword, and it's probably right here. Nope, it's in the Dark Maze.
Or on the boss, maybe.
Which we don't know who it is, and we can't get to.
Oh god, imagine if it's a Trinex. Oh, Trinex with spikes. I mean, it does have spikes in its vanilla version anyway, but just... Yeah, keep the spikes on.
Yeah, it's just smarter to put them behind him so that you can't do a zero cycle. And it looks like it might be on the boss. But we have no big key, so it is bow-locked, and Rywek is not going to check that bow-lock side.
Yeah, he might have forgotten that he is actually able to access it. Or maybe remember right now. Nope.
Or maybe he's just going to leave it until he has the bow so he can full clear the dungeon at this point, which makes perfect sense.
Indeed, and I'm not sure if he got the hint.
Oh, speaking of the bow.
Hello, you. Well, well, well. Graveyard Ledge holding some riches again.
And that is something they could have had since the Titan's Mitts and the Moon Pearl. And I bet DT... Well, if DT had trouble before on Vitreous, this is now a triviality at this stage.
Yeah, with a silvered... That's just... Hello, boop, 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 and you're out. The boss, I mean, not DT.
Yeah, so in terms of our go mode now, we need the Fire Rod, potentially. We have the flute on both... Or no, does the Rywek not have the flute?
Hang on a second, where was the flute again? It was actually quite early.
It was in Skull Woods.
Oh, so mobility advantage for DT.
Yeah, there's a small advantage in DT here with that flute in hand.
And a unique item on Catfish. Just not the one we want.
And talking Topo there to get just a 5 rupee. Is the single arrow considered a unique item though? I know it's a single item in the pool, but in terms of hints, I don't know if that counts.
I think it does.
I need to check. I need to get a much more detailed database for me to research.
The green rupee doesn't count because there are 2 of them in the game. Shields and swords are iterated, so don't count as well. But the unique arrow is one of a kind, so it counts as a unique item. It's the troll hint. The perfect troll hint. If you get this hint, Lovefire's will left from Palace as a unique item and you get just the single arrow.
Okay, so yeah, it is considered a unique item. Noted. There's just so many of these hints that if you don't understand the hint system perfectly, it's going to throw you off. Like the old man up on the mountain also counts as in the dark, even though you get the item outside the dark.
So Rywek also losing his money now. Zora just getting 20 rupees back. So Rywek, no flute. And going to... Is he going... No, he doesn't have armor, so he can't dip Third Rock, but I think he's going for Hera now. Which is actually the good play. Because he'll get his green pendant, and ergo will get his flippers if he doesn't forget about Saraswala.
Alright, so both our runners are going back through spots they've been at this point. So, real quick, as we are backtracking here and we're 55 minutes in, I'd like to give a quick shout out to our tracker, Haha Cell, who I believe was commentating earlier today, or no, I'm thinking of something else. But they are the tracker for this race and keeping those items up to date for you on the bottom screen. So shout outs to them for doing an excellent job thus far.
Also, a shout out to both runners that are really bringing to you a really nice display of Zelda execution knowledge. Huge shout out to them. Give them a follow. They well deserve it. Both really great runners. And I mean, whoever wants to do an Randomizer seed on stream, I mean, they just deserve recognition for that, because I wouldn't even dare play it alone on my computer, let alone show it to the world.
Yeah.
But so, with both runners tracing in each other's steps, where do you think might be the next play? We have now a full logical access to Ice Palace. We just can't get to the boss because we lack the hammer. We have early access to Swamp. We also have Desert access, actually. Where do you think our runners will soon go?
I think it's Desert and Misery Mire. Though I think that region has something for us. Because we can also check the medallion from Misery Mire. Neither one of our runners has done so yet, if our tracker's any indication. And we can just loot Desert, like you said.
And as long as Desert doesn't require food. Oh, hello, book. So now tablets access as well as pet check possible.
Yeah, there's just a lot of items available.
And the most dangerous enemy of the game in Torfera, the chicken.
At least it's not Chain Chomp. Those are arguably even more dangerous. Well, you don't see that every day. A stunned guard falling to its death.
That was just mean from Rywek.
But yeah, those chickens can be very dangerous. We know not to tease the cuckoo, and there's a good reason why. If you actually attack a chicken enough, and this is a staple in the series, they summon a flock of cuckoos to literally peck you to death.
And that's something you do not want to do inside the chicken hut. Because before you can leave, well, you're dead. Save and quit, bye. So, bow in hand, DT is gonna hop into pod.
You know...
Yeah, Kiki is... Yeah, it's good to have Kiki on your side.
Yeah, and there's a question in chat, and I'm legitimately curious about this answer. I might try this on my own. Is the flock enemized?
I can only imagine you hitting a chicken and all of a sudden you get like 15 red guards coming and you just cannot escape anymore because of the frame rate.
Yeah. I'm going to have to science that one. That seems like it'll be fun to test.
And if it's not inside the game, I think we have to get some words to Vitorp because I want to see that.
I think that was, we just discovered the next version of the randomizer. Or the Randomizer, at least. Anyway, it's time for Helmazer King, and he's gonna guard that pit like it's his life, his blood, and it really is. Makes it harder for you to hammer his mask, and also it makes it harder for you to bomb his mask off. Takes 6 bombs, although it's a moot point regardless, because the first hit of the hammer or the bomb takes off the mask. Oh, throwing it into the pit.
Yeah, he's got to be careful there. That's the second bomb that he whiffed. He needs to be careful now.
Yeah. Last bomb. Oh, and there it goes. Can't defeat the boss, has to mirror out.
God. Yeah, I think we might see Rywek go soon to the Lake Alia Island and get maybe some bomb upgrades because... is it in logic to beat Helmazor with bombs only?
You could, but it's required of the hammer.
It's required the hammers. So if it's required the hammer, that means the hammer should be actually available to both all runners then, because you need flippers. You need to beat Helmazor to get the flippers. Oh god, my brain hurts for so much logic.
Well, think about it this way then: if the hammer is here's the thing: the item logic is placed after the hint. Bleh, trying that again. The item logic is placed before the enemy randomization. So if it isn't logic with bombs, so it could be that it's required by a bomb. If it was required by the game to have the hammer, however, that's very telling because we know the flippers are locked behind that, so that means it's very restrictive on where the flippers or the hammer could be.
So no swamp, no ice palace. But with the bow that we got within logic, because Graveyard Ledge doesn't require any of that, it very might be in the big chest of Pod or on the boss, because I think we still have 1 or 2 items to get here, and DT is going to show them to us.
And someone is confirming in chat that the mask we don't have either hammer or bombs in logic, so it is in play. And we are seeing the hammer jump from DT here.
So we might see a sword here in the big chest.
Yes, we do.
Indeed, we've got butter now.
And there's so many wrenches into the gameplay, it is just not even funny. But something you have to always consider is that the enemy logic is shuffled after the item logic is, so... And the enemy logic doesn't really care about the item logic either. But it does its best not to lock stuff. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No problem, sorry, I should have waited a bit. Meanwhile, Rywek just got his flute at last, and that's not a nice place to get one of his pipes. So now maybe we might see him go to Miss Maya soon.
Yeah, and there's the ice rod for DT. I'm thinking it's ice. Or I'm thinking it's Myron's. Because looking at what we have right now, we've had the flute, we've had the Titans, we've had the mirror from the beginning of the game even. Meyer has been in logic for the first 15 minutes and no one has checked it. No one has checked checkerboard. No one has checked Meyer shed. No one has checked desert.
And if Meyer was locked by bombos, that means the dungeon will be fully completable as of now. Because we can do the dark room. We can fight the boss as long as it's not a Trinex. Yeah, it should actually have been the play for runners, maybe.
Yeah, it's been in play for a long time. Which probably means if the hammer is expected of you to be had, it's over there.
So, and I think Rywek is going to show us a small glimpse at the bumper ledge. I think we didn't see that yet from DT. So we will now know if a cape is indeed required. Also worth noting that cape might be required as well for the spike cave logic. Small piece of heart only.
And what was Palace of Darkness bust? We don't know because we haven't been able to get a bow over there. But yeah, it's good to note in the chat that some people are saying that the Enemizer won't require specific enemy rooms or kill rooms to have specific weapon requirements. So there is that. The Enemizer is at least nice to count for that. But then in terms of the item logic, bow locked side still requires bow. Oh, and everything else.
And Rywek is about to get his bow at last.
Yes. And I do think that it's time for us to go to Misery Mire.
And Rywek forgot that he hasn't activated the flute yet. Just waiting for his bird that's going, hey, wait. Oh, yeah, activate the bird. Forgot about that.
Oh no! The one eye DT did not shoot and it got him.
His Vitreous is really not playing nice. That's an Randomizer for you.
Yeah, that was painful. Alright, so flute coming online now for Rywek. DT's gonna make another attempt at Vitreous. This is the third attempt. First one was with Fighter Sword. I don't blame him for attempting it, but at least this time DT is much better equipped than he was before. And we're getting new information from Rywek. First one to check the Misery Mire area. And today, Vitreous, or Misery Mire requires... That was just a fast check. Was that Bombos? I couldn't tell. Knife shit is nothing though. And Rywek's gonna start with Desert here.
And Desert is bootlocked.
And we have a Mushroom and a Compass fire-locked in Misery Mire. Is that telling us something else to come? We don't know yet. Although that does narrow our unique item that's at the Pyramid Fairy to a very select few items. That could be our boots, actually.
Might be, but... I mean, the Mushroom played quite an important part in the first game, so... I'm not sure how to take that hint.
Now, we just did see what Mire had. Mire Shed, of course, had nothing. But we didn't get a good look at the medallion. Rywek did a very quick glance and I barely caught it. We'll see it here more prominently on DT's side, so eyes on him as we check Checkerboard Cave. And it has the hammer!
Hello there!
So the hammer was available this whole time. And I think that was Ether. We have vanilla medallion requirements.
Okay, so we are still getting further away from Go mode. 2 medallions that we require aren't the one we have. We need the boots. We still need that fire road.
Oh, it is indeed Bombos. I was right the first time.
Oh, well. Well, we'll still need Quake.
Yeah, we still need Quake, but Misery Mire's done full clearable, and we know the Mushroom is here. As does DT. And knowing where we have the hammer available to our runners now, with Rywek picking that up, that's very telling to what our...
oh god.
Big bomb item is.
Oh god, what is this room?
Well, what's this next room? This is the one that's even more annoying, I feel. Pretty tame to start. Is there anything worse around the corner? Kinda. You got electrified enemies.
Yeah, a hook shot on them and then it's all gone. But I mean, Bombos is an even faster way.
Actually, in the case of the Buzzwole, if you can just slash him with a gold sword, you don't care.
Yeah, Thieves, Shadows, and Skull Snakes. It's quite better than the normal fireballs.
So, like we said, there is a unique item in the Cane of Burna at the Pyramid Fairy. We've pretty much exhausted the majority of our unique items that it could be. We still have the flip. We still have the bug net around. We still have the shovel. We have Ether or Quake even as one of them, but we can't. Actually, no, it can't be Quake because of Turtle Rock. So it could be Fire Rod. It could be Ether. It could be Cape. No, it can't be
Fire Rod can't be anymore. Hey,
so
I'm finding that right now.
It's oh no! It could be Boots. We have not seen a Boots hint, have we? Not
yet. Not as of now, but
so here's the thing.
Rywek coming back for. Is he gonna? What's he? Okay, he's going for Vitrus now. I hope for him that it either comes back or that the mushroom doesn't have anything of importance.
And we know Cape can't be there, so... Oh no. I think I know what it is. There is a guaranteed Boots hint in the seed, but it can be masked as a unique item. I think our Boots that we need for Desert are at the Pyramid Fairy. And that's just evil seed. I don't like you, if that's the case. And yeah, you can just easily slash these Buzzwoles, so don't have to worry about their electricity.
Yeah, so that means that in order to get the boots, if they are behind the Pyramid Fairy, they are still looking for Quake. And Quake could be at that point almost anywhere except Desert. That's getting complicated right now. Maybe behind the mushroom.
Maybe behind the mushroom as well. And Rywek is going straight to the boss first and then is going to clear the dungeon. And we have this fake sword here as well. It counts as an enemy for some reason. And today our boss is Cold Stare! Is that just a nod of me messing up the names of these bosses all the time? Anyway, this is a very nasty place for Cold Stare to be because the damaging floor prevents you from hiding up at the ceiling like you could in the original Cold Stare fight.
Yep, in the original fight, if you go on the top of the screen, you're basically free from getting damage of any of his falling ice cubes. But Rywek's doing a really nice job getting ready the key, which we already knew about, since the second item is on the fire-locked side, on the left side. Now the question is, will he go back for a mushroom? Or will he go somewhere else?
Oh, I think DT's going with that mushroom, considering how much it burned him in the first race earlier today. There might be just a little bit of resentment.
Live by the mushroom, die by the mushroom.
And Rywek is not going to get concerned with the mushroom. Instead, he's going to take advantage of this hammer and start clearing dungeons. Both plays are valid. Let's see which one hands up. There's also a hint here for DT. The boots is winning!
Oh!
I was right! The boots are of the Great Fairy!
Well done, sir.
So we have two boots hints, one of which was masked, the other one just outright tells you. Because we've already checked the Waterfall Fairy in the Light World. It has to be behind the Super Bomb. And that tells us, and given what we have right now, that tells us also the cape is in logic because of Laser Bridge. Unless the third shield's on the way. And We really don't want to see that third shield, to be perfectly honest.
Yep. Also, we now know that Quake cannot be inside desert, but with a hammer and the hook shot...
is dead!
Yeah, basically, yeah. Rywek really needs to go back to Tower of Hera with his hammer because he will need these flippers. Because there's a high chance that Quake hides inside Swamp.
Yeah. And for those wondering why Quake Pet is dead, the other, or 5, 6, are Thieves Town and Turtle Rock. Turtle Rock requires Quake. Oh, actually, no. Quake could be on pedestal. You're right. No! Wait, no. I'm getting confused now. Ah!
That's Randomizer for you. Yeah, so if we look,
in general.
Tower of Hera is fully doable because the hammer was available beforehand as well. Skullwoods is now doable within logic because you got the fire rod, and Mr. Meyer is also doable. So yeah, we could have a Quake there.
And I don't. Which one of our, has one of our owners been to Skullwoods? I don't remember.
They both dipped Skullwoods, but didn't have a fire rod back then. They only got it now as they were into Mr. Maya. So we haven't seen which boss hides in place of Mothula, and haven't seen the last items.
Ugh. I'm just getting thrown off today. maybe I should have got a couple more hours of sleep. Oh well.
I'm just fine with the game currently not supporting inverted Randomizer because that would be just brutal.
That would be evil, yeah.
Imagine a 3 hearts Trinex fight.
Now we could just have the mushroom turned in for Quake. Quake could also be on pedestal. We don't actually have a hint for what could be on ped. But DT has the book and is going to Skullwoods, the third crystal. So he'll know one way or the other. Or the other 2 pendants, rather.
Yeah, but I think it'll just mirror and check. Just check for us a pedestal. Please, DT. Be so nice.
Yeah, DT, if DT checks the pedestal and finds that it's Quake, DT is in no mode. He knows where everything else is.
And we got Armor's Knights inside Pod.
Well, that's pretty straightforward. Boop, 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 and collect. And I know TT found the book when things broke on my end. Where was that? Do you remember, Julian?
I'm getting a blank right now. That's something that Rywek hasn't done. Might be flippers related. I'm not sure anymore. But I guess chat is a bit more attentive than us. Let's see if they can help us out on this one.
Oh yeah, book was flipper locked. It's on the hobo.
The hobo. Thanks, chat.
Thank you for reminding us.
Thanks, Tracker, by the way. Or Tracker active in chat.
And yes, we're concerned about the boots because the boot desert is boot locked. B key on torch. There's Quake!
Oh god.
It didn't matter!
Whoa.
Pet is doubt. Actually, you know what? The only boss that wasn't required is Vitreous. Or, well, in terms of all dungeons, it's still required, but Pedestal was dead because 2 of the dungeons just gave you everything we need. We have everything we need for this. See, folks, we are... Yeah, actually, no, DT knows that the boots are at Pyramid Fair. He's in go mode.
is in no mode. He knows himself what he needs to do now. He's going straight for straight for his Turtle Rock Dip now. We'll be able to fully finish it no matter what boss comes. So soon about to be in go mode.
Yeah, this is go mode. He already knows that the boots are at Pyramid Fairy. He read the hint inside Misery Mire that just outright told him where it was. And he knows the boots are required. He knows by information that he's in go mode.
And Rywek still hasn't gotten his flippers. Rywek really needs to go. He really needs to go back to Hera and finish Helmazor now, because otherwise it's gonna be problematic for him. It's also almost treacherous. The flippers being on the green pendant, so you need to go to Death Mountain, beat the boss, go back to Saraswala in order to progress. That's hard.
Yeah. What's worse is that Rywek could have saved Aga for last, which means that DT will have that full heal available to him before the Ganon fight. And just have a better Light World overworld in general to navigate. Although the flute mitigates that significantly. What a seed this has been. It's at least been nicer than their first seed, if I understand it right.
Yeah, that ice rod hidden behind the mushroom in left side Swamp Palace, that was something. I mean, for this seed, both runners could have had access to the mirror, to the hammer from the beginning, because as soon as they got Dark World access, they just needed to go to Skullwoods, get the flute, and then Checkerbot Cave, bam, hammer. And from then, it's just snowballs.
Yeah.
They just did it harder on themselves, by themselves.
And now DT is going to Turtle Rock. This is the final dungeon that he needs to clear before it. And we have land molas on a conveyor belt. And we have a Jet Turtle Rock. We have 2 small keys and the big key, so we can skip the middle chest, we can skip Laser Bridge.
Yeah, the only thing that might help DT at this point would be getting the red mail, or maybe getting a few hard containers on top, but with his caliber, he's just gonna go straight for the boss, I guess.
That was kind of a nice interaction there. I did not know the conveyor belt still carried you outside of Randomizer. Oh, well, there's our logical access to Laser Bridge. Unless we found the cape somewhere. Cape, for all we know, could be in here. Because Cape requires the hammer.
DT needs to be careful now, though. Only 1 heart left. And Rywek going apparently also for Turtle Rock. I just hope for him that he then goes afterwards to Tower of Hera, because that's the play he needs in order to come back here.
He might even be thinking... Well, he doesn't know the unique item is the boots. He'll still go for these dungeons regardless. He might think it's like the bug net or something, but we know from another hint, as well as process of elimination at this point, that is the boots. And the enemies being different here meant that Rywek didn't have a Beamos here, and instead had just a Zora. And we know that the flippers are on the green pendant, so hopefully Rywek turns it in after doing the rest of the mountain stuff here. Unfortunately, the folly of the seed is that no matter what, you had to climb this mountain at least 3 different times. First for Tower Hera. Nice hint there, by the way, game.
Thanks, game.
The second one for Turtle Rock, and the third one will be the final climb to Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, but good thing is I'm quite sure that Rywek will go for Tower of Terror straight after that because it's an old dungeon, so he'll need to do this Green Pendant dungeon. It just needs to remember that the Green Pendant holds an item in Saraswata.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we have yet to find a hint that says the Sage holds the flippers or anything like that that would lead Rywek to the flips. So he might just get the Green Pendant and never check it. Because, look, at what he's done. He's done Eastern, he's done Pod. There is no other real reason to go over there at any point except for Green Pendant. He might abandon that check entirely until it's his final check.
Yeah, he might go for all the dungeons he can finish. Oh god, DT, please.
There's spike rollers in the dark maze of Turtle Rock. Ouch.
That's Randomizer for you. God, that's
just nasty.
Yeah, that's nasty as hell.
Yeah, it is kind of strange how the spike rollers are considered enemies for the sake of this. Going left here might actually be ideal for DT, because you can just ignore this roller entirely. And get down here to the junction that way. But tanks the hit and moves on to Laser Bridge. Does need a key. There is a...
Oh, that's... that's nasty.
Hey, you're going this way, right? Let me give you a hand.
Oh god. Oh, is that nasty? Just...
There's our shovel. So, if we read the hints right, Cape's here. If not, it's an ice. I would get the
DT, be careful, DT.
DT doesn't care about the items. I would get the safety door at this point. Especially with a Mega Spike right here in the room. Who gets the fairy? At least that enemy didn't randomize. That was a very nice blessing for DT. And we got more Beamos in the way. And now it's time to fight whatever boss we have here in Turtle Rock.
How about a Morphula with the spikes behind her? That would be something. But...
it's just the Armos Knights again!
Armos 2.0. Still no ice bow.
And just bombs for us here. But more important than that, we have our 5-6, we have our boots online, so DT will be going to get them ASAP, and we'll be in go mode shortly.
So from now on the left side of the screen, we'll see pure execution in the making.
And there is just a hard container at Mimic Cave. So we might see Rywek collecting the remaining 2 chests on Laser Bridge. We'll also see how Rywek fares against the Spike Roller in the Darkness.
Yeah, let's see how he fares about that. And I mean, I also want to see this Beamos and Rywek's reaction to it.
I just love the fact that it just literally just booped DT into the pit. It's like, oh, you're going this way? Here, let me give you a push.
Oh, you have only 3 hearts. Well, sorry, that's 2.
So for DT, it's gonna be, I think, Desert first, then Pod, then his dungeons are all over the place, really. So it's a matter of the order. It's gonna be a Mirror Flute scenario for him, but he will be ending with Ganon's Tower, and Aga Tower. That is pretty much a certainty at this point.
Yeah, so he'll be able to do the perfect combo of Aga 2 to Aga 1 to Ganon. That in all dungeons, you really do not want to see an Aga required seed. Rywek just forgot about the check on the checkerboard, and that, I mean, he has to do it anyway, but just the way he did it didn't work out that well in the end. And
yeah.
DT is in go mode.
Yeah, checkerboard of course had our hammer. So it's gonna be the desert first. I think it should be desert, then pod, then swamp, then ice. Although desert, swamp, ice, pod is also a nice, neat route to take as well. Because that's all in a row, really.
It's also really nice for him to be able to go mode ice and swamp palace. That's not something you can do every day. I mean, we also had Misery Mire that was basically go modeable. We had the God Mire with first just having the big key, but
first just having big key, second just having the fire rod we needed for the cold stare.
Yeah,
we had to fight in.
Forget about that.
The place to begin with. If we didn't need bombs to get in there, it would have been almost required. No, it would have been required. But yeah, it's not too much to stretch to see DT do desert now, flute to 7, do swamp, then take the mirror portal back, jump in the water next to Lake Hylia and just swim across, or just flute to 8, and then just flute to 5. It's really just pick your order, DT, and then flute to the corresponding number of your order. And we're about to see the first look at the boss of Desert Palace.
Meanwhile, Rywek also gonna get his Fat Fairy check, apparently.
No, it's a unique item. Probably thinks it's the flippers. And we have another blind. Second time today. So we have 2 pairs of 2 bosses. Rywek might think this is actually the flippers. He did not get the hint in Misery Mire that told him outright where the boots were.
And that will only lead him further astray from the Hera play and the Green Pendant, because he will now be able to check the boots locations, do desert completely as you said. Oh god, only time losses for him.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't route it any other way. You've got dungeons to finish, and you just think, okay, I'm gonna do these dungeons, and I'm sure I'll find the flipper. Meanwhile, it's you do not think about going back to Hera just to do a pendant dungeon to get the green pendant item.
Yeah, and we're gonna see it be Ice Palace for DT instead of Swamp. And I'm not sure if that was rubbing salt into it or not, but Rywek threw the bottle into the fountain and got a B for his reward. Alright, Rywek will now be checking King's Tomb. DT is just going to be clearing dungeons. And there's our red mail. We now know where all our upgrades are in the game. And based on Rywek's inventory, we can pretty much safely say that the hammer is somewhere here in Ice Palace, because it's the only other Hammerlock dungeon we have left that we have not seen anything from.
For all we know, the cape could also be inside Ganon's tower.
That's true. DT muscle memory used that bomb there to set up the quick kill on the Armos Knights that are not there. Or Stalfos Knights, sorry.
Yeah, muscle memory is quite hard. Oh, Rywek also doing the lumberjack check.
And nice bomb jump from DT, textbook move. An ambush by Popoise and a hard hat beetle. And the Pingator Bowling Room is filled with Skull Rose and Chapusas.
Who came up with these names?
Hey, I go by the database. I memorized most of them, but I have since closed it. At least the Freezors are simple enough. Popoys are that green bag right there on Rywek's screen that you're seeing. And 2 more right here on DT's end. Hey, free heal.
Yep, and with Bombos, no need to worry about your magic level. And with the gold sword, the butter sword, I mean, a cold stare would be really nice, but let's see with Vitreous 2.0.
Okay, the scene is taking a quiet jab at me here. Because I usually get cold stare and Vitreous mixed up all the time.
And DT this time is also getting his revenge on Vitreous for the 2 deaths he had to suffer before. Now he starts saying, no fun of me, I kill you. And he gets another crystal, another dungeon done for DT.
Yep, Pod and Swamp are all that's left on his list. Well, also Aga 1, but that'll be after Aga 2.
Rywek soon to tie him on the dungeons or bosses level or number, but I mean, he's gonna go mode. He's not gonna go mode the other dungeons if he tries to go inside. I mean, he can't even go into Swamp. He knows that Ice Palace is a sequence break. All that's left for him right now is just going back to Hera.
Yeah, so eventually he'll be shoehorned back in. And thankfully he knows that Flippers cannot be in Ganon's tower, so they have to be available to him at some point. Unfortunately for him, he does not realize that it's on Green Pendant. So the further Rywek stays out of Hera, the more time he is losing to DT here. Which is unfortunate, but it does happen sometimes. It's always that one item that you always forget.
Yeah, especially he went already twice into Tower of Hera. First time didn't have fire source, second time didn't have the hammer and ran out of bombs. So just having this really mandatory item hidden behind this after dipping it twice already is just insult to injury for him.
And Rywek cannot pull the pedestal either because Rywek still needs to get that pendant from Hera.
One more reason to go back there.
And he notes there's still 1 item left in here, I think, because we had a green potion as well for both our runners here. So we'll see. In the meantime, DT is, of course, going to see Palace of Darkness here. We know that it is the Armos Knights today, because we are on Randomizer with the Chaos Boss Shuffle. So we have not seen Argus. We have not seen
Mothula.
We haven't seen Moth. We have not seen Trinex. So all the more annoying bosses are there. And Rywek finding the cape or the net there. So One more item off his list. He's running out of locations here.
My guess is on. Well, my guess is off. I was about to say 1, but it's going back inside the Dark World. Oh, I think he hasn't. No, he has done the Smith Chain. Oh, he's going for the Pet Cave.
Yeah, he's in the Pet Cave. We don't know what's here. Could be Ether.
I think DT went there, but I think it was nothing worthwhile.
And nice use of his arrows there for DT. He is down to 4 though, so we'll have to pick some up. But 2 dungeons left, plenty of arrows in there if you can find them.
1 dungeon left for him, Swamp Palace.
DT has left himself exactly enough arrows to finish the rest of this seed out. Because he knows there are 5 drops on his way up Ganton's tower.
And we get a check at the Magic Bat, which is in logic for quite some time now.
And yeah, it might be true that you might need him for those kill rooms on the way up. But he still might need the arrows for any Armos he fights or Ganon himself, so would like to stock up a little bit. Just in case. And Magic Bat not turning out anything, so Rywek has, unfortunately, last location his flippers. And is probably not pleased about it.
Yeah, especially since he could have done this dungeon in its entirety already before, but just because of a few whiffs with his bomb throws, wasn't able to destroy the Helm of Helmasaur.
Yeah.
Yeah, I expect.
Oh no, he's gonna check the bike gate first.
Please, Rywek, no, no.
We know the spike gate is illegal. Okay, that's enough.
Okay.
Wait. Wait, what? The key is missing. DT's gonna restart the dungeon here. That shouldn't have happened.
I didn't exactly catch what happened here.
The small key under the pod that's supposed to be there is gone.
Thanks, game.
It looks like it might have. It looks like it might have despawned.
Okay, and now
it's the Octoballoon.
Oh god.
The Octoballoon is just taking up way too much space. He has to wait for it to die before the key can spawn. See, throwing one last curveball right at the end, and it's DT's fault. And DT is gonna go and kill that Octoballoon just to make absolutely sure that it doesn't cause any issues.
Doesn't even bother with the chest, only this Octoballoon. Get out of my way, let me get my key.
Yeah, because the thing is, the Octoballoon explodes into the 6 different minor enemies. There's the key. What a strange interaction that was. Only an Randomizer, folks, I guess. It couldn't have been in Pot Shuffle because we have that disabled. But still, that is particularly rude of the seed.
Yeah, especially when you're already 1 hour 40 minutes in. Just seeing that, you need to think about the sprite limit. That's something that you don't necessarily think about. I would be tilted as a runner if I think like, Am I key locked now or what?
Anyway, Rywek's attempt number 3 on the Helmazor King. And he is guarding that pit like he owns it.
Yeah, Helmazor staying nice in near this small hole just to think, hey, right, come on, get a fall on top, come for run number 4.
And the mask will break. A spin attack and then a silver arrow, or just 2 more slashes will do it. And Rywek has finally defeated the boss that is Helmazor King. Meanwhile, we're about to see what Argus turned into here on DT side. And it's the moth! And quick and clean. So, with that crystal... So with that crystal catch, it's Julian. That is crystal number 7. It's time to play a game.
Oh, a game? What kind of game?
Well, let me go ahead and get it started here in chat, and I'll explain it as we go. So, chat. And of course, it's time for the big key guessing game, as we all know and love here. Give us a number 1 through 22 and which chest you think the Ganesh Tower Big Key will be for us today. If you are a sub or support to any of the speed gaming channels, be it through 250 bits or more, as we see Ryu get the flippers, or subscription, you are eligible to be caught by our speed gaming bot to be on a leaderboard. So, Julian Bertlin, where do you think our big key is tonight? Or today, rather?
I'm gonna go with number 11. Just
11.
my number I pick every time. You, Wolf, what's gonna be your pick?
The seat's thrown quite a few curveballs. It's gonna be about middle of the road, I feel. Let's put it in chest 8. I'm feeling a map room if you go check Hope first.
Nice. We just hope for no tile room for runners because that would be just a bit too much.
Well, actually, tile room would be fine. Because I just remembered there is something that we have enabled. I think we have the tile shuffle enabled. Which means you'll get a random tile pattern.
And our runners do not have a cape as of now, so if it was hidden behind one of the books, tablets, and they don't get it inside the tower, yeah, but that might be nice. Yeah. Okay, think I might tend to tile room now.
I'm still hold true to 8 though. As much as I want to see the tile room pattern. Not at the expense of DT's luck. I'm gonna be nice. Alright. We're gonna go ahead and close the game now for you folks. And let's see what we get here. First 2 chests here in the Hope Room. Blue potion. And 20 rupees. We are going left. Start us off.
So we're about to see what Bob or Bob's torch has for us.
It is a small key.
Goodbye, Bob.
Well, we don't even know if Bob would be an anti-fairy to begin with.
That's true.
Because of that sprite shovel. And that was especially rude of DT, setting the charge down the pit and then sealing it behind him. I got some light world guards here as well. There's our big key. Chest number 5. Early big key. Nice to see that all the time.
Yep, and with 2 small keys in hand, in the name of DT, you will be able to just blaze through this gauntlet. Well, blaze, depending on what type of enemies we'll expect him.
And keep in mind, folks, that was chest 5 because it was the second chest in the room. The torch counts as 1. So it was 5. So the correct person to guess was Edir Hart. So congratulations to that. Let's go ahead and save those results, shall we? And there you go. There's our leaderboard right now for those who want to see it in the chat. So DT is now down to 1.5 hearts here. Gonna have to heal up a little bit. Thankfully, there is a restock room just over here. Meanwhile, Rywek is fighting the victorious in the Cold Stairs Arena.
And DT just forgoes any security here. No anti-fairy powder stuff. No fairy room. He might feel a bit behind because of the hammer that was available so early on.
It was definitely the flippers holding him back, though. And DT is skipping the safety here. Does have the blue potion he can drink if needed. Now it's time for the gauntlet, and this is a true gauntlet because the enemies are randomized throughout these rooms, and you have to kill all of them. Good chance he gets a fairy drop, though. And we have some of those babusas as well. 3 of them, in fact.
It's got to be careful though. Ice, bombs, fireballs. That's not... Ooh, that was a close one.
Alright, so the first roadblock in DT is now the randomized moth. And it is a Trinex! So, this actually exploits a little bit of a trick here. You'll notice that after we defeat the 2 snakeheads, something is gonna happen. See, Moldorm doesn't initially have a second phase. So, when Moldorm's second form spawns... Oh, it didn't open this time.
Ouch.
Ouch.
Well,
DT goes down, unfortunately. I thought that door opened. I guess they fixed it. Oh, that's right. Yeah. It's Argus that does that. Not a mistake.
Trinex wasn't kind to DT at all, and he's used his blue potion. He doesn't have any magic now. I think he still has green goo, but
yeah, he still has a green potion.
Yeah, you'll have to be careful now.
And apparently I called it Moldorm, but it's actually Lamos there normally. I always do that.
It's so Randomizer we even randomized the enemies' names. So DT this time getting his safeties. It's also worth noting that with his death, is still in the lead, but Rywek is really closing in on him because Rywek, when he's done, GT is straight for Ganon. DT will still have to do Aga 1. Thankfully it will be a short Aga fight. It was only 1 blue ball if I remember correctly, but it's still I think a 3 to 4 minutes climb up to him.
DC working his way back to the gauntlet again. Rywek about to fight the Moth. This has been... Yeah, it's just the Trinex here is being a problem for DT.
As well as the Vitrios in Eastern Palace. But otherwise, no troll bosses so far.
I would argue that Hera's with Helmstar was a troll.
Well, it would be a troll, but it's just the runner's fault for not going to Mystery Maya first.
Well, it likes to hide in front of that pit, which makes it annoying.
I'd call that self-defense.
And I say fair. And it's kind of interesting that Trinex does bounce off of the trap in this room. Doesn't go all the way to the wall. And that's what I was thinking of, is that there's some artifacting in the second room here. But now we're on the Wizard floor, now with Barriers and... No. Is it... I forget the name of that enemy. Popo?
Yeah, I'll go with Popo.
And unfortunately, that hit from the anti-fear might have messed up his plans here. Although, with just a simple mini Moldarm here, to make things fairly trivial. Switching to the lamp to start things off. And Rywek is now in his way to Ganon's tower. We know it's a really big key. So the question now becomes, can Rywek clear Ganon's tower and defeat Ganon before DT can defeat Aga 1?
That's really close, especially since he has more safeties. He doesn't have Butter Sword, but Tempered is almost as good, but he has a red mail, so it's safer, and I think he's got also... Yeah, he's got 2 hard containers more. DT didn't pick up on purpose to... Nice bunny!
Yes, I remember that bunny. That's the Clippy thing.
I've got X97 flashbacks.
And 1 singular Vitreous left. So, we never saw a single Argus the entire seed. I think we saw every other boss but Argus.
Did we see Moldorm?
No, we did not, actually. It's easy to forget that one. We at least saw the one that Molas. That was at Skull Woods.
So
well, now it's time for
Aga 2. About to get, Aga 2. Meanwhile, Rywek is gonna get his big key.
We'll see what the other shit's here in the Staffos room. And there was another small key available, at least. And it's time for geometry here. Where did that third projectile go from Aga there? Interesting. But anyway, that's Aga 2 down, and now it is not time to fight the pig. Reminder, folks, this is all dungeons. In order for Ganon to be vulnerable in the 4th phase, DT needs to defeat Aga 1, as well as all the other pendants and crystals, and of course Aga 2, which he just did. So his goal is not met until he mirrors to fight Aga 1. So it is the GT tower climb versus the Aga 1 tower climb. I want to say that DT has a couple of minutes here, but a death, which he's low on health, it could happen. Or a Ganon fall could let Rywek tighten this race up to be within seconds.
Yeah, that's gonna be really, really close. Depending also on Rywek's completion of the gauntlet and the bosses. I mean, it's got Tempered, so Trinex will be quite fast, and We saw how Vitreous is easy with the silver arrows. It really depends on the execution of both runners right now. It's still close. A small edge for DT, but as we like to say in speed gaming, it's not over until one of the runners has crossed the bridge.
It's not over until someone .duns. And DT taking advantage of that anti-fair and healing, so he's pretty safe at this point. Doesn't have any potions to rely on, doesn't need them.
You still need to be careful. I think there are still a few tricks or tricky enemies on his climb. I think on one of the small narrow passages you have a Beamos or a fire bar. Still need to be careful. Meanwhile, Rywek on his way to Trinex.
Yep, there he is. No avoiding this big guy. It's gonna be a little bit slower of a fight compared to DT, and Rywek has to be really careful, running low on magic.
I think he still has a green goo, so is quite safe on this side. And doesn't
Gets
need
down, just barely, but he cannot take another hit. Meantime, it's time to fight Aga 1. We know this is a relatively easy blue ball pattern. I think it was even just one.
Yep, just one.
And he does have a blue potion. Gonna drink this real quick. And Trinex does not care about the boundaries of this room. He will crawl up the wall if he needs to. Alright, GT is now fighting Aga 1. Rywek is past Trinex and is on this way up to Aga 2. This could be decided by a Ganon fall here, folks, on DT's end. But if the execution levels are as high as we saw in the first race, this might be DT's race by a few seconds.
Yeah, right now DT, as long as he doesn't make any mistake, he's got a clear lead.
Yep, and now it is time to fight the pig that is Ganon. Gold sword, silver arrows, 6 slashes to the first 2 phases, the trident phase and the fire breath phase. And then we ground pound, he'll teleport the seated, teleports rather, there. 4 slashes when he stops teleporting. You need to advance to the 4th phase, which is the darkness technique. Light the torches. Stun him with a sword. 4 silver arrows. DT has plenty, should not miss any, but in the off chance he does, 3 spin attacks per miss silver arrow. That is what we call the silverless strats. You time it for when Ganon is about to teleport.
Already in the middle of phase 3. Really nice from him. And Ganon just teleporting everywhere, not having any of it.
Yeah. Ganon is denying this 205 here.
And Rywek on his tail, now going to Aga 2.
Nice position there. Gets a silverless hit on him accidentally, though. And a nice triple to round it out. GG! Get your G's in chat for in the name of DT, who has now tied his series with Rywek. Game 3 will be at a later point in time, of course, but let me go ahead and get that official time for you folks. It is, in fact, 2 hours, 4 minutes, and 12 seconds.
And now Rywek just took care of Aga 2, and this is time to it's time to go to for the big pig. But seeing his hookshot shots, I think he saw the dot down ALTTPR.
Yeah. And we will be joined by inthenameofDT. Let me go ahead and pull him in. Hello and GG to you, DT.
Hey.
That you managed to have no trouble with Helmsley King up there in Tower Hare, and that is really what gave you the ultimate lead there, because Rywek Goma was the flippers. He last locationed pretty hard because he could not get the mask off.
Wow, that's pretty interesting, I guess. Yeah, when I got up there, I saw it and I thought, no, I don't have a hammer, but wait. Let's just try this. What can I actually use to damage the jewel? And then, oh, fighter sword spins. We will give it a shot. That could have gone very, very badly. And it almost did a couple of times. I was pretty low on health by the end of it.
Unfortunately, the thing that gave you trouble was actually the Vitreous in Eastern.
Yeah. I mean, that Helma thing might have been one of my better fights, oddly to say. And that was still a little bit shaky. I feel like this seed, there was a lot that just ran afoul. I played like a turkey, and so many things just gobbled me up.
Fitting puns, considering we're doing this on Thanksgiving Day for us here in the U.S. But yeah, the one thing that probably tripped you up the most, and it wasn't even your fault, was the sprite limitation in Swamp.
Oh my god, I'd never seen that before.
Neither have I.
Kind of realized what was going on, like, right as it happened, because I know that, yeah, that thing is exploding, and there's just a bunch of sprites on the screen, and hey, there's a limit somewhere. I thought that it was the one from the lower room at first, because I couldn't see the one in that actual upper room.
Yeah,
so that's why I reset it twice and went through it a couple of times to try and figure it out, and I was like, oh, okay, it worked.
And real quick here, folks, Rywek has now finished in second place with an official time of 2 hours, 7 minutes, and 3 seconds. GG's to him as well.
I mean, I don't really know what to say other than, holy cow, this seed was just brutal, I think. I think I had like 7 deaths, is what the end of my credits said. Lots of little things just dealing damage to me left and right, just inconveniences everywhere.
Yeah, and
I was playing on a pretty good tilt for most of that, I'm not gonna lie.
Yes, and we see that Rywek is here. Let's go ahead and pull him in so you two can talk to each other. GG to you, Rywek, in a good race. This was close, but it was just those flippers and that Helmsley King that really tripped you up. It seems Rywek is waiting for his mic to come active. And wow! I just now noticed what was on PED.
What was on PED?
Magic.
Magic Saber. It was the half magic. That one
GG, DT.
Yeah, you too, Rywek. I'm glad that after all of that tossing and turning on whatever this seed actually was, we finished real close. I really don't know what to make of this seed. It was a doozy.
Yeah. The Vitreous in Eastern got you a couple times, DT. Rywek, you had trouble with the Helmsley King, unfortunately.
I did.
And which hid your flippers for the longest time. But you were alluded to this in IRC, I noticed. But you want to know what has happened to DT in Swamp specifically?
What happened? Oh yeah, there was a key that despawned for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
There was an octo balloon in the room, and it actually ate up the sprite of the key.
Huh. Once it exploded, there were just too many sprites on screen. At least that's the theory I'm gonna go with.
Yeah.
That's just too bad.
It happened twice.
Oh no! Oh, that's such a time sink.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna lose this race just because of this. Not everything else. This is gonna be what makes me lose the race.
Yeah, but it's actually your early call to do Helmsley King with the fire sword. Sorry.
You okay over there?
Yeah, just something just tickling the back of my throat. I'm gonna go wash it out real quick.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, so you had said in IRC that you didn't get flute for a while. You hadn't gone to Skull Woods for a while.
It took me forever to get the flute. I even went to Aga 1 just to try and get the pod before I went to get the. That definitely cost me a lot of time. Once you get the flute, you get a ton of different things you can go to.
That's not a bad idea though. Taking Aga 1 to pod. I did that in my race against Aaron, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a totally viable option.
Oh yeah, I figured like, well, I have to get this done at some point anyway. Pod has more items than Skull Woods, and I hate going to Skull Woods without the fire rod. Right. I just have a stigma for that, so. I always tend to skip it.
There
was the ice rod.
One question, both of you. How did you feel when you found the hammer in Checkerboard Cave after, I think, something like at least 40-50 minutes, when it was actually Sphere 1, maybe?
No, it was not Sphere 1, but it was relatively early considering how early you had your Dark World access and how early you could have got that flute.
That's a good point. Well, when I found it, I was, oh, this is it. This is what's gonna cost me the race. I better gamble a heck ton if I want to catch up.
Yeah, unfortunately, the one gamble that you did not make, which would have helped you, was the flippers being in there, which, as we said, was your go mode, unfortunately.
Yep.
DT's go mode was the Quake medallion over on the, well, what would have been Moth. So he was pretty much set to go at that point. Because you didn't see the hint in Misery Mire, but the cutscene Chesson outright just blatantly said what the unique item was in Pyramid Fairy.
Really?
Yeah, it said the boots were at a Great Fairy.
Yeah. So he knew by information that he was in go mode when he grabbed Quake.
Ah, well, there you go. So you got go mode like much earlier than I did then.
Possibly. I was able to do. Well, I wasn't able to do pod. I had to go back and do pod, desert, and then I was able to go mode swamp and ice.
Yeah, that's the only two go mode dungeons I could do.
Well, I guess we were similar then. And it couldn't have been too far off either way, since we finished 3 minutes apart. So.
Yeah, this was only just game 2 between you two.
Yep.
That's right.
Game 3, I believe, was Sunday at 11 or noon or something like that. I'm not sure right at this moment.
And have those, and I'm going to ask this to you: have those settings been confirmed? And if not, what are your vetoes?
I'm going to veto losing. No, I don't know. I haven't really given it any thought. Well, no, it's already set, so never mind.
It's already set, yeah.
But I'm still going to veto losing.
Yes.
I tend to veto Key Sanity. Just because it just adds an extra half hour to the run, I just don't like it.
I'm trying to remember, what did we veto on that?
Well, what we have here, and I'm looking at the schedule now, is we have all dungeons, standard, swordless, normal, and no variation for your third race on Sunday at noon. And while I have the schedule up, let me go ahead and announce a few other matches that we have coming up to you here in the near future. Going on, that just started actually on Speed Gaming 2, we have Hitzion versus Shady First, Ganon inverted randomized hard difficulty. And then coming up for you here on Speed Gaming 3 in a couple hours, we will have Aaron Doby versus Rywek again.
What?
For Ganon inverted Uncle Assured normal and no variation there.
What are you doing playing so many races in one day?
I think I have to catch up here. And I found our vetoes. You vetoed hard. Why would you veto hard? It's so much fun.
Why did I veto hard? I don't know. I think I had a bad experience with it the last time.
And as far as other races throughout the day, we have one more at 7:30, Glam vs. Ventalis. That one is also inverted, all dungeons. And then Thursday, today on 8:30, we have Zyrek versus Bonta on Speed Gaming 4, and then we just have more matches throughout the day. And of course, make sure to give these two a follow. They both deserve it for putting on a very close race here. Very tight for their game too. And while you're at it, make sure to give my co-commentator Julian Berlin a follow, as well as our tracker Haha Cell. as well as, of course, Speed Gaming at Speed Gaming's 2 through 6. We are on Speed Gaming 3 right now. Make sure to give them a follow. And if you are more inclined to hearing commentary in French, Spanish, or German, because that is your language of choice, we do offer commentary restreams in those languages for you here on Speed Gaming. And also, Speed Gaming is not the only place to find links to past randomizer action. Sometimes, if we have the restream set up, we will host some races up on a Link to Past Randomizer 1 through 5. But that's going to be it for just today. I don't know what you're going to be seeing between now and the next match here for us here at a Link to Past Randomizer. But from all of us here at a Link to Past Randomizer, I have been Wolfling0370, and we shall see you all next time. And thank you for watching. Have a good day, everyone, and happy Thanksgiving.